surf simulators, zip lining, 7 distinct neighborhoods are just a few of the things you will find on Royal Caribbean's Oasis class ships. I'm Charlene of IslandJumper.travel, and on this episode I'm going to talk the good and the bad of the Oasis class ships. Here's some of her stats. 2,747 guest rooms and 2,193 crew to take care of those guest rooms. The maiden voyage of the Oasis class ship was in 2009, and we were on it in 2010, and at the time we were hearing that they had picked the best and the brightest to be on that ship because it was such a big ship and was presented as such big fanfare. And I have to say, things on the ship really were flawless. Everything was really top notch, and it seemed like they had the best of the best on that ship. As of this year, 2021, the Oasis class ships took the top 4 of the top 10 large ships. So they took positions 1 through 4, and then with 5 being the Carnival Mardi Gras and then the P&O Iona. So they are big ships. In fact, they are so big that they have the normal balcony rooms on the outside, but they also have balconies on the inside that face 2 of their neighborhoods, that face the Central Park and also face the boardwalk. So currently, there's the Oasis, the Allure, the Harmony, and the Symphony. And next year in 2022, there should be the Wonder. Oasis class ships are warm weather ships, so they dedicate a large amount of space to areas that get the weather and the sun, because it can be beautiful and in the Caribbean, and definitely it's wonderful in the Mediterranean in the summer. There are 7 distinct neighborhoods. The boardwalk, there's the pool and sports area, there's Central Park, there's the Royal Promenade, which they have on other class ships as well. They have the entertainment area, they have the youth zone, and then they have the Vitality Spa and the fitness area. So they have a zip line, they have a couple of flow riders, they have the rock climbing wall, they have water slides now, or dry slides, so there's some kind of slide. There's ice skating on I think almost all of the ships now, and they have the High Tide, which is a floating bar that goes up between the Central Park area and the Promenade area. That's really kind of fun. They have 4 pools, and they have an escape room on most of the ships now too. So one of the things very unique to the Oasis class ship, and this is why you usually see, when you see an Oasis class ship image, you will see it from the aft. The aft of the Oasis class ships has a thing called an Aqua Theater, and they produce like amazing shows. It's part diving, part trampolines, it'll be music and lights and just spectacular events. So you definitely want to see an aqua show or any different aqua shows that they have. Also on the Oasis class ships, you will get a full Broadway production of whatever show is showing on that class of ships. We got to see Hairspray when we were on the ship in 2010. I know Grease is on on one of the ships. Mamma Mia was on the Allure when we were on it. I think that they're also doing Cats is also a show that they're in, but they will do a full Broadway production, and it's pretty amazing. So on the Promenade, you can usually find a drink station 24 throughout the course of your cruise, and there'll usually be some snacks located there. Usually across from that is the Sorrentos, and there's also typically a soda machine around the Sorrentos. So in addition to those 2 things, which are complimentary, there's the Windjammer, which has the buffets at particular times. There's also Park Cafe, and this is a little secret that people don't find out until they've been on the ship for a couple of days, so it'll be good for you to know so you can get right down there. There'll be a really great place called Park Cafe, and it serves breakfast and lunch, and I believe maybe some dinners, but it may close a little bit early, like about the time that the Windjammer opens. And you can get sandwiches, and you can get like a ready-made salad. It is also the place that if you have the deluxe beverage package that includes the coffees, you can get a specialty coffee there. Otherwise, if you don't have that package, then you'll have to pay extra for the fancy coffee. Really good, and it's a good little secret. There's also an area in the the sports area near the flow ride. So it used to be called Wipeout Cafe, and I think it's getting replaced with the Mexican food like El Loco Fresh, and that's really good and a really good treat. And there can be food available in the solarium, at the Solarium Bistro. So that can be a really good place to grab some breakfast if you want it to be a little less busy. There are some upcharge dining on the Oasis class ships. And of course there's Chops. There'll be a Giovanni's or a Jamie's Italian. So like some Italian thing. There'll be a Vintages. There'll be a Johnny Rockets. Now, when we were on there before, Johnny Rockets breakfast was free, but any other meal they charge an upcharge for. So I don't know if that's going to be the same when we get back to cruising. But you'll also get there's Zoomies. There's some Zoomies. And they have been introducing Wonderland on some of the ships if they come back in from refurbishment. And that was a restaurant that was typically just found on the Quantum class ships. And they're also introducing anything, it's called a Playmakers Sports area, and it's like sports food, like you would find at a sports bar. That will be an upcharge. And then now if you are in a suite, and this means a full suite, not a junior suite, there'll be Coastal Kitchen, which will be available for you. And then you'll have a concierge service area that they'll have drinks and cocktail area at certain times. So that's another thing about the junior suites. Typically get double the points for the nights you're there. So if it's a 7-night cruise, you would get 14 points if you were a suite guest, and that's any kind of suite. But the full suites are the ones that get the extra space. Like there'll be a space that they'll have a pool that's their own, and a kind of an area around the pool that's just their own, and there'll be a concierge area that's just for them, and those are just for the full suites, not for the junior suites. The pros for the Oasis class ships are they have a lot of food variety. There's a lot of things going on at a lot of different places. They have it's like a resort that floats, so there's a lot of things to do. It's really good for multi-generational vacations. So you've got grandparents, kids, families that have a bunch of different ages. There'll be a lot of different things for everybody to do. So like everybody doesn't get bored on a ship. Some of the smaller ships have a lot less things to do. And they'll have like really good entertainment and like full Broadway productions. Plus other things going on through different bars will have different bands, and they'll be like, won't be the same band you'll see at all the different places. They'll have quite a different number of entertainment that you can see. Like there'll be like a jazz band, and that'll play sometimes at Boleros. There'll be a couple of different comics that they'll like when you get to one of the ports of call, you'll notice that next night there'll be a new comic on. So there'll be a lot of entertainment value. So there are some cons for the Oasis class ships. Getting on and off the ship takes quite a while, because when you've got that many cabins with 2 or more people in it, you're going to have to bring your patience when you're getting on and off the ship of your ports of call. Not many ports of call can accept that large of a ship. So you will have a limited number of ports of calls that you can go on for the ship. But, you know, the good side is there's a lot to do on the ship. And you'll have a lot more sea days typically than on maybe some of the other smaller ships. The Windjammer can get busy, and in the Oasis class and the Quantum class are the only ships that I've been on where if you are sitting in the Windjammer, that sometimes they will come on and, hey, if you finished with your breakfast, can you please exit so that other people can get into the Windjammer. And so that's the only time I've ever been asked to like leave the Windjammer very politely, you know, very respectfully. And one of the big cons that there is with the Oasis class ships is you will need to make a reservation for the shows and for the specialty dining. And if you don't, you'll get waitlisted, and you will kind of have to stand on the side there until they see if people have come to, you know, meet their reservations. And you will need to be there for your reservations probably like 10 or 15 minutes early, because that's when they do the will calls and let people start taking the other spots. So that's like kind of a difference from the bigger ships to the smaller ships. People aren't used to, when the Oasis came on, people were totally not used to having to make a reservation for dinners or for entertainment. But overall, you know, these class ships are really amazing. They're really beautiful. They're floating resorts, so there's a lot to do. There's a lot of places to hide. And the only time that you really feel like there's a lot of people on the ship or when you're trying to get on and off the ship, or or breakfast time if you're hanging out in the Windjammer, you will kind of get scurried along. So other than that, they're really amazing ships, and I would definitely recommend them.